Well, Friday, this past Friday was Veterans Day. So we have decided to honor all the veterans on the closest Sunday to Veterans Day. So let's do a little history. Veterans Day wasn't originally called Veterans Day at all. It originated at the end of World War I, the Great War, because the people of that time called it either the Great War or the War to End All Wars. No one called it World War I in that time because they couldn't possibly conceive of mankind going through such a tragedy again, which of course they would, sadly. And on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the armistice went into effect and it all became quiet on the Western Front and the war ended. And it was declared Armistice Day to remember all those who had served and fallen in that war. Well, after World War II, it was decided to change it from Armistice Day to Veterans Day to honor all the veterans that had served in all of the wars in American history. The thing about veterans whom we're going to honor is sometimes I think we lack a personal connection to their service. Now, of course, if you're related to a veteran, or if your dad was a veteran like mine, or you have a son or daughter in the military, as many in our parish do, then you can say you have a connection. But I'm going to give all of you an opportunity to realize how connected you really all are with those who served before and all who are serving now, because every one of us is very connected to them. And let me explain to you why. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And if you can answer yes to any of the questions, I want you to raise your hand, all right? Question number 1. Do you belong to any group, any club, any society, of any organization? Raise your hand. Okay, very good. Number 2. Have any of you ever traveled anywhere before or after COVID? Any place you wanted to go traveled? Raise your hand. Okay. Have any of you read a newspaper or watched the news? And for you young kids, you can Google newspaper, see what it is. Raise your hand. Very good. Okay. How many of you have ever voiced a political opinion or voted? Raise your hand. Okay, very good. How many of you have attended a religious service? If your hand's not up, you're at one right now. All right. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to vote, freedom to travel, freedom of association, freedom of religion. It's the First Amendment to the Constitution. Those are your freedoms. All things that you've raised your hands to, you're exercising your freedoms. The freedoms are written down in the Constitution, but they're not free. Freedom has never been free. It's never been free in the past, isn't free now, and isn't going to be free tomorrow. In the past, it has always relied on enough young men to put on a uniform and take an oath, and today, men and women to put on a uniform and take an oath. And what's that oath? That oath is to defend and protect the Constitution, the freedoms that you've all raised your hands to. So when we honor the veterans, we're honoring something that every one of you have relied on and continue to rely on the people who are serving now. Every time you go where you want to go, say what you want to say, be with who you want to be with, pray who you want to pray, read what you want to read. There's someone out there in a uniform willing to make the ultimate sacrifice that allows you to do that. That's very important to know. So at this time, I'd like all the veterans who are here to please stand. I know we have some veterans. Very good. Let's give a round of applause.